Welcome to the STEM Tutor channel. Today we have a very different video for you where I solve a practice test, basically a math portion of the uh, practice test 1 in the Bluebook app. This is very new to me. This setup is new to me. This is the first time I'm showing myself to all of you with the webcam on and the Bluebook app on, as well as the whiteboard. So a new setup in OBS Studio. Hopefully it goes well, and if it doesn't, please bear with me as well. And I want to hear from you whether you like this format of videos, and if you don't, please leave a comment as well of what you would like to see, and what I intend to do in the future, if this works out for all of us, is maybe do a live stream session of me solving the next practice tests in the Bluebook app. So I've already skipped over the reading and writing portion in the Bluebook app, and that's why you can see that I have this resume testing now window ready to go. So without further ado, let's get started. Another big point and another thing that's making me really nervous is I haven't sat on the SAT for about 20 years, right? The last SAT I took was around this time in 2004. So I'm nervous, but I'm also excited to see how far technology has come and how different the test is now versus when I took it about 2 decades ago. So without further ado, let's resume the testing and let's solve the problems at hand. Okay, so this is just giving an overview of what kind of questions there will be. There'll be multiple choice questions where you have to select the correct answer, and then there'll be student produced response questions, which is sort of called the free response questions as well. And if there's more than one correct answer, then you can choose whatever answer you want to put, and then you can put it as a fraction or a decimal or a mixed fraction. Actually, mixed fractions are not allowed. Just normal fractions are allowed. Improper fractions are allowed. Okay, let's look at the first problem. We have a data set given here, and the question is which frequency table correctly represents the data listed. Okay, so with this data set and frequency table, the main thing to understand is the values itself are given in the number column, and how many times that given value occurs in the data set is given in the frequency column, right? So the number 4, for example, occurs 4 times in this data set. So number 4, frequency of 4. The number 8 occurs 3 times. So 8 will have a frequency of 3, and then 13 will have a frequency of 2. So it looks like right off the bat that our first option is the correct one. So we'll select that one. Let's go to the next one. We have which expression is equivalent to x squared plus 3x minus 40. For this one, I will solve it by hand. And let's see. So you have x squared minus 3x, or sorry, plus 3x minus 40. Okay, we have to split 3x in such a way that when you add up, let's call this a and then b. When you add up a plus b, that's going to be equal to 3. And when you multiply a and b, you will get negative 40. Okay, so if we take the factors of 40, okay, let's say just 40, not negative 40. We'll get 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, and then 5 and 8. Okay, so if we take a as 8, and b as -5. A plus b will be 3, and then a times b will be -40. Okay, so the a value is going to be 8 and b value is going to be -5. So we'll call this x squared plus 8x minus 5x minus 40 here, and then we'll take the x out from the first part, and we'll get x plus 8, and then we will take the 5 out, -5 out, and we'll left with x plus 8 also. Okay, so the equation will be x minus 5 times x plus 8. Okay, so that option is option B. It says J walks at a speed of 3 miles per hour and runs at a speed of 5 miles per hour. He walks for W hours and runs for R hours for a combined total of 14 miles. Which equation represents this situation? Okay, so all we have to do is, this was 2, this one is 3. Here, all we have to do is multiply the miles per hour times the number of hours for walking as well as running. Okay, so the miles per hour for walking is 3, and the number of hours is W. Similarly, the miles per hour for running is 5, and the number of hours R, and the total combined is going to be 14 miles. So our equation will be 3W plus 5R is going to be equal to 14, which is option A. Number 4, we have triangle ABC where angle B is 52 degrees, angle C is 17 degrees. What is the measure of angle A? This is very straightforward, where A plus B plus C, and this measure of angle A plus B plus C is going to be equal to 180 degrees. And we're given the angle B and C measures, which is 52 plus 17 is going to be equal to 180. And then the measure of angle A is going to be equal to 180 minus 52 plus 17 is 69. And when we take it on the right hand side, we will subtract it. So it's going to be 110 minus 69, which is going to be 111. So the measure of angle A is going to be 111 degrees. Okay, the next problem, 5, shows that the graph represents the total charge in dollars by an electrician for X hours of work. The electrician charges a one-time fee plus an hourly rate. What is the best interpretation of the slope of the graph? Okay, let's erase what we had written before. So, the equation here is going to be y equals mx plus b. Okay, because it's a linear graph here, and x is given by the hours worked, number of hours worked by the electrician, right? So the slope m is going to represent the rate per hour. Okay, rate per hour, and then when you multiply it by x, you will get the total charge for the number of hours worked, and b here represents the one-time fee. The question is, what is the best interpretation of the slope of the graph? So the slope of the graph, m, is going to be rate per hour, which it also means that it's the hourly rate. So the answer is going to be A, electrician's hourly rate. Number 6, the table summarizes the distribution of color. Color and shape for 100 tiles of equal area. If one of these tiles is selected at random, what is the probability of selecting a red tile? Okay, so here the probability of selecting a red tile is going to be the number of red tiles divided by total number of tiles. Okay, so the number of red tiles is 30 and the total number of tiles is 100. Okay, so the probability is going to be 0.3 or 0.30. Okay, so here this is a free response or a student produced response question, so we'll have to enter this. You could put in 0.3 or 0.30. I put in 0.30. It's the next one says that from a population of 50,000 people, 1,000 were chosen at random and surveyed about a proposed piece of legislation. Based on the survey, it is estimated that 35% of people in the population support the legislation with an associated margin of error of 3%. Based on these results, which of the following is a plausible value for the total number of people in the population who support the proposed legislation? So the main thing to notice here is the plausible value for the total number of people in the population and not the one who were only surveyed. Okay, so here it says estimated at 35% of the people in the population support the legislation with an associated margin of error of 3%. That means it could be anywhere from 32% to 38% of people who support the legislation. Okay, so that means that we have to take 32% of 50,000 because that's the total population, and on the higher side it will be 38% of 50,000. Okay, so we'll say take 32%, so 32 divided by 100 times 50,000 here, and that's going to be equal to 16,000. Okay, to 38 over 100 times 50,000. Okay, I'm getting truncated here. 38 over 100 times 50,000. Okay, and that's going to be equal to 19,000. So it could be anywhere between 16,000 to 19,000 people who support the legislation, which means that the number has to fall within those bounds. And the only option that falls within those two numbers, between those two numbers, I should say, is 16,750. So C is the answer here. We have, what is a positive solution to the given equation? Okay. I forgot to mention that when equations or linear equations or quadratic equations and so on come, I'm going to use Desmos to solve these problems. That also will help whoever is watching and going to be taking the SAT in getting familiar with the Desmos program, as well as, you know, understanding how powerful of a tool Desmos is in solving problems like these. Okay, so here we'll just put in 55 divided by x plus 6 here, and then we're going to say equals x. Okay, and as you can see, we already have a graph here, and the graph is going to be straight vertical lines because these are just going to give us values of x here. Okay, if we zoom in, one of the values of x is -11, and another value of x is 5. Okay, it's right at 5. So the problem is asking us to give the positive solution to the given equation. Okay, so the positive x value that works here is going to be 5, and you can go ahead and check whether 5 works or not. So we'll put in 5 where x is. So 55 plus 55 over 5 plus 6 is going to be equal to 55 over 11, which is going to be equal to 5. And this satisfies the equation. So 5 is the answer here. Number 9. Number 9 says, an airplane descends from an altitude of 9,500 feet to 5,000 feet at a constant rate of 400 feet per minute. What type of function best models the relationship between the descending airplane's altitude and time? So it is descending at a constant rate. So constant rate equations are linear equations, and your y1 value is 9,500 feet, and y2 is at 5,000 feet. Okay, and so y2 is less than y1. Okay, when y2 is less than y1, it means that the slope is negative, which means it's a decreasing equation, right? And as mentioned, it is also a linear equation, so it's going to be a decreasing linear equation that we're going to see, which is B. If the given function g is graphed in the xy plane where y equals g of x, what is the y-intercept of the graph? Okay. Again, as mentioned, we will use Desmos wherever we can. So we'll say y is going to be equal to 11 times 1 over 12 to the power x. Okay. And as you can see in blue, the graph is drawn for us by this program, and you can snap onto this point. This point represents the graph where the graph intersects the y-axis, which is also called the y-intercept. So the coordinate for the y-intercept is 0, 11. Okay, which is option A. Another way to do this would be, if you want to do it by hand, you could also do it easily. You would just take y, so this is 10, y is going to be equal to, so this is y of 0. So, or we should say g of 0, and make x equals 0. So 11 over 11 times 1/12 to the power 0, which is just going to be 11. Okay, so g of 0 is just 11, which means that the coordinate of the y-intercept is going to be 0, 11. Okay. All right. Here we're given a circle with two intersecting diameters and intersecting at the center O. Okay, and the circumference of the circle is 144 pi. Diameters P, R, and QS. Their diameters PR and QS. The length of arc PS is twice the length of arc PQ. What is the length of QR? Okay, we can see here that the diameter SQ, okay, creates a semicircle SQ. So the length of arc SQ is going to be equal to half the circumference. So circumference, which is 144 pi divided by 2, which is going to be equal to 72 pi. Okay. Same with PR, right? So PR also is going to be equal to 72 pi. And then PR arc is actually a sum of arc PQ plus QR. Okay, PQ plus QR. And for SQ, that's also going to be equal to PQ plus PS. Okay, And we are given that length of arc PS is twice the length of PQ. So PS is going to be equal to 2PQ. 2PQ. That means that SQ is going to be equal to PQ plus 2PQ, okay? Which is going to be equal to 3PQ, okay? So 3PQ is going to be equal to 72 pi, which means PQ is going to be equal to 72 pi over 3, which is going to be equal to 24 pi. Okay, so PQ is 24 pi, and we know that PR is 72 pi also. So QR is going to be equal to PR minus PQ, which is going to be 72 pi minus 24 pi, okay, which is going to be equal to 48 pi. Okay, so the length of arc QR is going to be 48 pi. The rectangle has a length of x units and a width of x minus 15 units. If the rectangle has an area of 76 square units, what is the value of x? Guess what we're going to do? We're going to use Desmos. Okay, so length, so the area of a rectangle is length times width. The length is x times the width is x minus 15, okay? And that is going to be equal to 76, okay? So again, we're going to get a couple of vertical lines here because this represents a quadratic equation, and we should disregard the negative x-intercept here because the length of a side cannot be negative, so it can only be positive, and so the x value here is going to be 19. Okay. Number 13, we have a table that's given, and here we says table shows the exponential relationship between the time t in years since Rosa opened the account and the total amount of n in dollars in the account. If Rosa made no additional deposits or withdrawals, which of the following equations best represents the relationship between t and n? Okay, so as mentioned, it's an exponential equation. It's going to be an exponential growth equation. So generally, the exponential growth equation here is going to be given by n equals principal times 1 plus the rate to the power t, okay? And so p here is the starting amount where when time t was 0, and that's going to be 604, okay? We're not given the rate in this, but the only option where 604 is the coefficient outside the parentheses is option C, okay? So to me, it looks like C is going to be correct, which is going to be 604 times 1 plus 0.004 to the power t is going to be the answer, okay? Another way to do it is using Desmos, okay? So we'll create a table. We'll input the table as we're given in the problem. 1 is going to be 606.42, and then we'll have 2 is going to be equal to 608.84, okay? That's the table that we have. In the second line, what we're going to do is we're going to say y1, since it's an exponential equation, is going to be equal to p times 1 plus r to the power x1. X1, you got to remember, is the same as t. using Desmos. And what you will find here is if we expand this, we will get the values of P and R, which are very close to the numbers that are in option C. So P is 604 and R is 0.00399, which is just almost equal to 0.004. So that's going to be our answer. At how many points do the graphs of the equation y equals x plus 20 and y equals 8x intersect on the xy plane? They'll intersect at one single point because they don't have the same slope. Neither are they the same equation, but it doesn't hurt to put it in there. So y equals x plus 20, and then we have y equals 8x. Okay, and as you can see, the graph in purple and black only intersect at one single point. So the answer is 1. We have the next problem is the equation that's given to us is 5g equals 45r is going to be equal to 380, where r is the red tokens and g is the number of green tokens. And the given equation represents this situation. How many more points is a red token worth than a green token? Okay, so we look at the coefficients in front of g and r respectively. So r's value is going to be 5 and g's value is going to be equal to 45. Okay, so I flipped it. R's value, my bad. So G is going to be worth 45. Okay. Each G token is going to be worth 45, and each R red token is going to be worth. Sorry, I keep messing it up. Each G is worth 5, and each red is worth 45. And so R minus G is going to be 45 minus 5, which is going to be equal to 40. Okay, answer is going to be 40. Here we say here the number of bacteria in a liquid medium doubles every day. There are 44,000 bacteria at the start. Which of the following represents the number of bacteria y in the liquid t days after the start of the observation? Okay. In this one, this is another exponential function where generally the exponential function is going to be the number of bacteria p at the start times 2 to the power t. Okay, and the p is 44,000, so the answer is going to be 44,000 times 2 to the power t, which is option D. A cylinder has a diameter of 8 inches and a height of 12 inches. What is the volume in cubic inches of a cylinder? We can use the reference here. If you don't remember the volume of the cylinder is going to be pi r square h. So we're given the diameter. So R is going to be d over 2, which is going to be 4 inches. H is going to be 12, right? So pi r square h is going to be equal to pi times r square is 16 times 12. Okay, and that comes out to be I think it's going to be 192, but let's just confirm. So it's going to be 192. Sorry, 92 pi. Okay. Again, we're given a couple of equations. We'll go ahead and use Desmos to find the value of y. So 6x plus 7y equals 28. And then we'll have 2x plus 2y equals 10. Okay. And where these two graphs or lines meet is going to be the coordinate, and we'll get the x value right there. So we can snap directly to where these two lines meet. So the coordinate where they meet is 7 comma -2, and we're supposed to find the value of y, so that's going to be -2. 19 is in a triangle JKL, cosine K equals 24/51, and the angle J is a right angle. What is the value of cosine L? Okay. So bunch of ways to do it. You can use the triangle here, and you can just make this so this is the J is the right angle, and make this K and this is L, and so this is the angle theta or angle K, and you can make the hypotenuse as 51 because cosine K is going to be equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, which is going to be equal to JK over KL. Okay, and you can make the JK value as 24, and so the value for JL, okay, do I have space here? Maybe I do. So JL is going to be equal to square root of the hypotenuse minus the other one, so it's going to be 51 square minus 24 square. Okay, and that's going to be equal to, find that out, so you have square root of 51 square minus 24 square. Okay, and that comes out to be 45. Okay, so I'm going to erase this top part, and we know that JL is 45 now, and cosine of L is going to be equal to JL over KL, which is going to be equal to 45 over 51. Okay, so the value of cosine of L is going to be, how do we write this? It doesn't give us, okay, 45 over 51. Okay, we got 5 minutes left. We're given an equation, and for what value of x does the f of x reach its minimum? Again, we use the Desmos. The minimum is going to be at the vertex, so we're going to be looking for the vertex. For x squared minus 50x plus 126. Okay, and then we zoom out and see where the vertex is, and that's going to be equal, that's going to be where the minimum x value occurs, and the minimum x value happens at 6.25. Okay, so we'll say 6.25 here. Line L passes through point 0, 0 and is parallel to the line represented by equation 8x plus 2, and line also L passes through 3 comma D. Okay, so the other one, if it's parallel, then the other line also has the same slope, and we just need to find what, let's say, the value of B is, which is a y-intercept. Since this line L passes through 0 comma 0, B is just going to be 0. So the equation of the line is going to be y equals 8x. Okay, and when we plug in x equals 3, so y is going to be D is going to be 8 times 3, which is going to be 24. Okay, so we just plug in x equals 3 here, 24, and we are at the last problem here with 2 minutes 30 remaining. We're given that in the xy plane, a line with equation 2y equals c for some constant c intersects a parabola at exactly one point. If the parabola has equation -2x squared plus 9x, what is the value of c? Okay, if a line intersects a parabola at only one point, it intersects at its vertex. Okay, so again, we'll be looking for the vertex. So we'll say y equals negative 2x squared plus 9x. Okay, and we'll be finding the vertex again. This time it's a parabola going down, and here we're given that we need to find 2y. Okay, so for 22, this was 21, for 22 we found that y is going to be equal to 10.125, so 2y is going to be equal to c. So c is going to be equal to 10.125 times 2, which is going to be equal to 20.25. Okay, so 10.125 times 2, which is going to be 20.25, and that's going to be the answer. Okay. Now I have a minute left. I could go ahead and click next and review any problems that I had any doubt on, and or did not, or skipped over, or did not complete, which I didn't do this time. But again, if you are unsure about a problem, mark that for review and come back to it when you have, if and when you have time, right? So we didn't necessarily do that, and yeah, so this is okay for now. Whew. First module is over. Again, the second module, depending on how well you do in the first module, your problems are going to be easier or harder. If you got all of them correct, or many of these in the first module correct, then they're going to get progressively harder in module 2. I don't think that the Bluebook is tailored to that. It's just giving the same set of problems that it has. It's not adaptive like the normal SAT would be. Okay. It says which expression is equivalent to 9x squared plus 7x squared plus 9. So for one, the answer would just be adding up the coefficients of the x squared terms. So this is going to be equal to 16x squared plus 9x, which is option D. Okay. Number 2 is you have 900,000 beads, 828,000 are silver. What is the percentage of the beads what percentage of the beads are silver? That's going to be equal to 828,000 divided by 900,000. And so if we take a look at this, we'll do 828,000 divided by 900,000. Okay, system is being a bit slow. I apologize. And that's going to be 0.92, which is going to be 92%. Okay. All right. The next problem, 3, is 2 times 3t minus 10 plus t is going to be equal to 40 plus 4t. What is the value of 3t? Okay, let's solve this. Again, we need to find the value of 3t. So it's not necessarily to find the value of t if you can make the whole equation equal to 3t. Okay, so you have 2 times 3t minus 10 plus t equals 40 plus 4t. Okay, I'm going to subtract t on both sides, and then I'll get 2 times 3t minus 10 equals 40 plus 3t. Okay, so I'll expand this. We'll get 6t minus 20 equals 40 plus 3t. Okay, subtract 3t on both sides and add 20 on both sides. Okay, so you will get 3t is going to be equal to 60. Not 6 and the letter t, but the number 60. So the answer is going to be equal to 60. Number 4, we have this equation: 5 times x plus 4 equals 4 times x plus 4 plus 29. What's the value of x plus 4? Again, you don't need to find the value of x. I tell my students when these sorts of problems come up, if you expand and find the value of x, that's a couple of extra steps that you have to do. What you can do here is you can make the x plus 4 value equal to another variable y, and so we'll substitute x y wherever x plus 4 comes. So you have 5y is going to be equal to 4y plus 29, subtracting 4y on both sides, we'll get y is going to be equal to 29. Y was just x plus 4, so x plus 4 is going to be equal to 29. That was pretty straightforward. Number 5, a neighborhood consists of a 2-hectare park and a 35-hectare residential area. The total number of trees in the neighborhood is 3,934. The equation 2x plus 35y equals 3934 represents this situation. Which of the following is the best interpretation of x in this context? Okay, so we know that 3934 is the total number of trees, right? And 35 is the area of the residential area, 35 hectare, and 2 hectare is that of the park. So it looks to me that the value of x is going to be the number of trees per hectare in the park, and y is going to be number of trees per hectare in the residential area. Okay, because you have hectare times number of trees per hectare, and when you do that equation, you get just number of trees total. So x is going to be equal to number of trees per hectare in the park. Okay, don't forget the park, because the coefficient in front of x is 2. Okay, so which means that it's the average, which is the same as the average number of trees per hectare in the park. Okay, so the answer is option A. Number 6, for a certain rectangular region, the ratio of its length to its width is 35 to 10. If the width of the rectangular region increases by 7 units, how must the length change to maintain this ratio? Okay. All right, this one looks a bit challenging, so let's try to solve this. Here we have that the ratio of length to width is 35 to 10. So let's call the original rectangle L, the length of the original rectangle L, and the width is W, and that the ratio of that is 35 over 10. Okay, which means that the length is 35 over 10 times the width. Okay, that's important. Okay, and so the new if the width of the rectangular region increases by 7 units, so let's call the new width, which has increased by 7, as Wn, and that's going to be equal to the original width plus 7. Okay, we're asked how must the length change to maintain this ratio. Okay, so this one Ln is going to be how much? We want to keep the Ln over Wn as the same ratio, which is L over W, which is going to be 35 over 10. Okay, so again, ln has to be the same as 35 over 10 wn. Okay, which is going to equal to 35 over 10 times w plus 7. Okay, we bring in the original width that was given, and so this is going to be equal to 35 over 10 w plus 35 over 10 times 7. Okay, now what was 35 over 10 w? That was the original length. Okay, so then ln becomes 35 over 10 w was just L plus 35 over 10 times 7. So let's calculate that. So 35 over 10 times 7, okay, which is 24.5. Okay, so the length, the new length, is greater by 24.5 units versus the original length. Okay, so how must the length change to maintain this ratio? It must increase by 24.5 units. Okay, because there's a plus sign in front of 24.5. Okay, that was 6. Number 7. You have P equals 9 plus 14 over n, and we are to find the equation that correctly expresses n in terms of P. Okay, so we'll isolate only the portion that's that n contains. So we'll say P minus 9 is going to be equal to 14 over n. Okay, so 14 over n equals P minus 9. Okay, and we know that the answer is going to be in terms of n. So what we'll do is we will flip both sides of the equation. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take the reciprocal on both sides. So this becomes n over 14 is going to be equal to 1 over P minus 9. Okay, which means now we multiply both sides by 14. So this makes n, this means n is going to be equal to 14 over P minus 9. Okay, and that P minus 9 over 14, that's not correct. P over 14 plus 9, P over 14 minus 9, no, that's not correct. D is the correct answer. Okay, for a function f, for each increase in the value of x by c, where c is a positive constant, the value of f of x increases by a factor of 27. Which of the following equivalent forms of the function f displays 1 over c as a coefficient of x? Okay, so a lot of things going on here. You know what? Let's come back to this if we have time, okay? Because this seems a bit more complex. So I've marked this for review. That means I have not completed this yet. And let's go to the next one. Okay. This one here is oh, I could have done this. Oh my God. I didn't even know this. Okay. Here, for problem 9, we're given a circle with the equation circle A with the equation, and circle B has the same center as circle A, and the radius of circle B is 2 times the radius of circle A. The equation defining the circle B in the xy plane is the left hand side is the same as that of circle A, but the right hand side is k, where k is a constant. What is the value of k? Okay, so we know that the equation of a circle is x, we'll take it as for A, x plus 5 the whole square plus y minus 5 the whole square equals 4. And so this 4 represents the radius of circle A squared. Okay, And so B, so that means RA is going to be equal to positive square root of 4, which is going to be equal to 2. Okay, we're given that RB is going to be 2 times RA, or radius of A, twice the radius of A. So RB is going to be 4. Okay, which means that the equation for circle B is going to be x plus 5 the whole square times y minus 5 the whole square equals RB square, which is going to be equal to 16, which is going to be equal to K. So K the value for K is 16. Number 10, business owner plans to purchase the same model of chair for each of the 81 employees. The total budget is $14,000, which includes a 7% sales tax. Which of the following is closest to the maximum possible price per chair before sales tax? Okay, so let's call the price of each chair as X. Okay, and the equation that we are going to have is you have 81 employees, so 81 times, we also have the 7% sales tax that we have to give, so it's going to be 1 plus 0.07 times X, which is the number price of each chair, and that has to be less than 14,000. Okay, because you cannot spend over 14,000. So this means that the equation is going to be, so 81 times 1.07, okay, which is going to be 86.67. So this is 86.67x should be less than 14,000. So we will divide both sides by 86.67. Sorry, not x, 67. And we will get 14,000 divided by 86.67. Okay. And that comes out to be, so x has to be less than 161.532. Okay. So only two of these values are less than 161.532, which is A and B. But the problem asks which of the following is closest to the maximum possible value, right? And so the closest to the maximum possible value is going to be 161.53. That was 10. Now we're at 11. Again, Desmos is our friend. So let's put these two equations in Desmos and try to find what is the possible value of x. Okay. So you have 8x plus y equals negative 11, and you have 2x square is going to be equal to y plus 341. Okay. Wow, that graph, the graph that for that quadratic equation went away somewhere. Okay. All right, let's find out. Okay. So the 2 points at which these two equations or graphs intersect is 11, negative 99 and negative 15, 109. And we're asked the x value. So the x value is going to be negative 15 or 11. So let's see whether we're given one of these two values. We're given negative 15. Okay. So that's going to be our answer A. How many solutions does the equation have? Okay. So here we're just going to expand this equation. So we'll have 10 times 15x minus 9 equals negative 15 times negative, or not negative 6, 6 minus 10x. Okay, so when we expand this, we get 150x minus 90 is going to be equal to negative 90 plus 150x. Okay, both sides of the equations are the same. Okay, so left side is 150x minus 90 and the right side is also 150x minus 90, which means that there are going to be infinitely many solutions. Okay, if both sides are the same, then you have infinitely many solutions. That's 12. 13. We have a quadratic function f, which is graphed in the xy plane, where y equals f of x. Its vertex is negative 3, 6. And one of the intercepts of this graph is negative 17 over 4, 0. What is the other x-intercept of the graph? Okay, so I think here what makes sense for us is to maybe draw a rough graph of this. And one thing that you will note here is the x-intercept. One of the points for the x-intercepts is negative 17 over 4, which is less than the x value of the vertex. Okay, which means that it's going to be a decreasing, or not decreasing, it's going to be a parabola that's going to be inverted down, or yeah. Okay, not to scale for sure. So the value here here is going to be negative 3 for x, which is going to be the vertex, and this intercept here is negative 17 over 4. Okay, and we only have to worry about, we're only worrying about the x values here, so let's call this x. And so what we need to do is we need to find the distance between these 2 points, and it's easy to calculate the distance between these 2 points. That's just going to be equal to negative 3 minus 17 over 4. Okay, the distance is going to be positive, so you have negative 12 over 4 plus 17 over 4, which is going to be equal to 5 over 4. Okay, so the x-intercept is 5/4 away from the vertex, and similarly the other intercept on the right is going to be 5/4 away as well. Okay, so this distance is going to be 5/4 as well. And so the way to calculate is you would just add up 5/4 to negative 3, and so this becomes negative 12 over 4 plus 5 over 4, which is going to be equal to negative 7 over 4, and that's going to be the x value, and the y value for the x-intercept is 0, so the coordinate is going to be negative 7 over 4, 0. Okay, so the answer is going to be B. Whew. This one, 14, we have y equals fx plus 14 is shown. Which of the equation defines function f of x? Okay, this one is pretty going to be straightforward. You have y equals f of x plus 14. You can see it's a straight line, so let's call f of x plus, f of x equals mx plus b. We'll replace this, so y is going to be equal to mx plus b plus 14. Okay, when y is 0, when x is 0, y is 2. Okay, so x equals 0, implies y equals 2. So you have 2 equals b plus 14. So b is going to be equal to negative 12. Okay, you're not able to see this. So I'm going to say b is going to be equal to negative 12. Okay. If b is negative 12, then you have y equals mx plus 2. Okay. And so when x is 8, y is 0. So you have 0 is going to be equal to m times 8 plus 2. Sorry. Yeah, m times 8 plus 2. So m times 8 is going to be equal to negative 2, and m is going to be equal to negative 2 over 8, which is going to be equal to negative 1/4. Okay, you cannot see that, so I will erase the top, and you can see that m is going to be equal to negative 1/4, and f of x was mx plus b, which is going to be equal to negative 1/4 x minus 12. Okay, that's going to be f of x. And so the answer is going to be A. In the given equation, b is a constant. For which of the following values of b will the equation have more than one real solution? Okay, more than one real solution means that b squared minus 4ac will be greater than 0. Okay, which means b squared is going to be greater than 4ac. Okay, so b squared is going to be greater than 4 times 64 times 25. Okay, so b squared is going to be greater than, what's 4 times 64? 4 times 64 times 25. I think it's going to be 6400. So that has to be greater than 6400. And so b has to be greater than square root of 6400. The square root of 6400 will have a positive and negative value. So b is going to be greater than 80, or b is going to be less than negative 80. Okay, which means any value over positive 80 or any value under negative 80 is going to be correct. So the only value that's under negative 80 is A. Negative 80 does not count. It's not equal to. We have to be less than that. Okay, that's the answer. We have 16. For each real number, which of the following points lies on the graph of each equation? I have done this kind of problem in a previous video dealing with Desmos. So what we can see, the first and the second equations are equivalent because the second equation is just 5 times the first equation. So we'll just put down the one of these equations. So I'll put down the first equation here, equals 7. And then I will start putting the points down. R over 5 plus 7, comma, negative R over 5 plus 35. Okay. And then I'll add the slider. You can see that the point is not falling on the line here. So we'll continue. We'll say 3R, negative 3R over 2 plus 7 over 2 comma R. Okay, And at this point, at this value of r, it does fall on that line. And if we keep sliding the bar for r up and down or left to right, that point never deviates from the line. So the answer is going to be B. You have 4x minus 6y equals 10y plus 2, and that system has no solutions. What is going to be the value of t? Okay, so no solutions means they're going to be parallel, and the slope is going to be the same. So you have 4x minus 6y equals 10y plus 2. So we have 4x minus 2 is going to be equal to 16y, and we divide 16 on both sides. So we have y is going to be equal to 1 over 4x minus 1/8. Okay, that means m is going to, or the slope is going to be 1/4. Okay, so that means ty is going to be equal to 1/2 plus 2x, and y, we divide t on both sides, so 1 over 2t plus 2 over tx, and so 2 over t is going to be the same as 1 over 4, and so t is going to be equal to 2 times 4, which is going to be 8. Next one is, we are given a isosceles right triangle, and the hypotenuse is 58. Okay, isosceles right triangle 58. Let's call both of these lines as S. Okay, so what is the perimeter in inches? So you have S square plus S square is going to be equal to 58 square. So you have 2s square equals 58 square. So you have s square is going to be equal to 58 square over 2. And so s is going to be equal to square root of 58 square over 2, which is going to be equal to 58 over square root of 2. Okay. Perimeter is going to be equal to 2s plus 58, which is going to be 2 times 58 over square root of 2 plus 58. 2 over square root of 2 is just square root of 2. So you have square root of 2, will be 58 square root of 2 plus 58. And so that's going to be the perimeter, which is option C. We have this table. So again, we'll say 1, negative 64, 0, sorry, not 0, 2, 0, and then 3, 64, and that's that. And then this next equation will be y1 is going to be equal to ax1 plus b. Okay, and then you can look at the residuals. A is going to be 64 and b is going to be negative 128, and we want to find a minus b. A minus b is going to be 192. Okay, so the answer is going to be 192. We're given a data set consists of 10 positive integers less than 60. The list is shown, has 9 integers, and the mean of the 9 integers is 42. If the mean of the data set is an integer greater than 42, so the integer, another integer greater than 42 is, let's say, 43. Okay, so for 20, the mean is 43. So 43 times 10 is going to be 430. And for the earlier data set, the mean was 42 times 9 is going to be equal to 378. Okay, so we have to subtract 430 minus 378, which is going to be equal to 52, I think. Sorry. I'll just go next. So 430 minus 378 is going to be equal to 52. Okay. We're given a bunch of things here where groups of 25 or more people, museum charges 21 per person for the first 25. So the equation 21. So you have 21 times 25 plus 14 for each additional person. So 14 times n minus 25 because it's okay. Which function in dollars is that? Okay, so this is going to be f of n. Okay, so you have 21 times 25 times 25, 525. So you have 525 plus 14, 14, sorry. I got to go to the next one. 14 times 25 is going to be 350 plus 14n minus 350. And so 525 minus 350 is 175. So 14n plus 175 is going to be the answer. The last one is you have triangles LMN, RST. L and R each have measure 60 degrees. LN equals 10, RT equals 30. Which additional piece of information is sufficient to prove that LMN is similar to right angle RST? MN and ST cannot be the same. MN and ST could be 7 times 7 and 21, but the measures of angle MNS, okay. We missed 2 problems. We missed 22 and we missed another one as well, okay, from the previous one. We ran out of time. So running out of time is real. I ran out of time because I was explaining as I was going. If I didn't have to explain, I would be done. So I'm gonna, yeah, the app worked really well. So we'll give an excellent here, and see. It says congratulations on completing an SAT practice test. See how you did on my practice. Okay, so I'm gonna open up this one here while I log in. Yeah, so definitely you can see some cobwebs, that I had. That's why, I should have worked maybe faster and also given some, explained less maybe so that I would be able to finish this off in time. So let me do one thing. Let me add a window capture here. And then this one will be right here. Okay. And so here we go. I'm going to get rid of this. And we're going to bring in this right here. Okay. So as you can see, this is knowledge and skills. You have to go to the College Board website to actually look at how you did on the practice test. And reading and writing were omitted here, so all we need to worry about is math here. So the algebra section difficulty was hard, advanced math was hard. They have difficulties are hard for everything. Okay, what we do want to see is how we did in the math portion. So in the math portion for the first 22 problems, seems like we got everything correct, which is great. And we marked number 8 for review, which we couldn't finish. And the last problem also we couldn't finish. Even then, it so I could have just selected the math and it would show everything. And in the reviews section, it shows you how to, for each of the problems, I guess you can see how you can solve this. And it says you omitted this question. I know for each of the modules, two questions or two problems from each module remains ungraded. So maybe because we missed two, they were able to grade everything but those two, and they considered those two to be the omitted ones. Here D is correct, so D is the right answer. So if I go in and you know if I take a look here, I go to SAT practice. So it says if I download the score report. Okay, I downloaded the score report. Let's see. It says math is 800. Wow, so we got 800 out of 800 here. Yeah, so that's pretty good. We missed two because we ran out of time because of all the explanations, but yeah, for all of the other problems, we got all of those correct. Okay, so again, I would appreciate a like and subscribe if you are satisfied with the test that I took, and let me know in the comments if you want me to do this live as a as a stream. We can do it on YouTube Live, and stream this. Same format, in the Bluebook app itself, 35 minutes for each module, and take it from there. Hopefully, we'll get better with time for the next one. Okay. See you on the next one.